to provide together these trainings. I will talk about how to educate our community leaders. After the training, we hope that you will feel more confident of participating in the political process involved. Before starting, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself, my background, my history, or my story, and the process, because I also needed to learn the process. As an immigrant to this country, I came very young, at 2.5 years of age. I came from El Salvador. Coming from an immigrant family, we, in reality, didn't understand the political process. For me, it felt like it wasn't within my reach. I thought that the only way to be a part of the process is through votes or voting. Before my parents were able to become citizens, we thought we couldn't contribute. But that is not the reality. When I was going to the university, I got involved in different programs, university programs. During the process, I learned that another way that people can hear our voice within the leaders, or that the people's voice can be listened to, is participating through manifestations and protests. I thought, well, this is the only way that I can participate. It wasn't until I started to learn about the tobacco problem, when I learned that policies can have an impact within the use of tobacco and how one is exposed to secondhand smoking or to others who don't smoke. What I learned was I also saw the impact of how we can train or educate our leaders and to see if they approve policies that the people want to hear. The process of working with tobacco, what I learned is that I am happy that we are here in this training, talking about this because it is a part of the process, preparing us so that we can do this in our own cities. Again, a reminder, if you can please put yourself in mute, please. I see or I hear background noises. Thank you. First and foremost, I would like to explain to you my objectives of my presentation. After my presentation, my colleague, Juan, will talk to you and we'll give you more information and we will do training sessions where we will put in practice the teachings that he's going to talk about. But what I am going to talk about is an introduction of the Coordination Center or Centro Comunitario Latino and the services we offer. If you were part of the first training, then you already heard this, but we have new people participating. So I want to do a brief review of our center. I will also do a brief review of what we talked about in the first training. We talked about how tobacco affects our community. I'm going to give you some facts about why we're doing this. But I'm also going to talk to you about or remind us of the review of the policies that we talked about. We will talk about why it is important that the community is a part of the political process. We're going to have a chat or a discussion about who are the leaders in the community and how we can get in communication with them and train them or educate them. Before I start, as you can see in the slide, it is in Spanish. Maybe you can or cannot see it, but when we give our presentations in English, many times we use different terms that serve as a form of identification or to label how our Latino community identifies themselves. Some identify as Latino, Latinx, or Hispanic. But during the presentation, I will use the word Latino or the term Latino in a lot of my slides. First, I would like to give an introduction about our center. The Centro de Coordinación de Latinos para una California Libre de Tabaco, a center to free California tobaccos. It's a collaboration between California Health Collaborative along with UC California or USC California. I am part of the USC of California. Our mission is to improve the general health of Latinos in California by reducing the disparities related to tobacco through adoption and implementation, requiring changes in the policies and systems through a collaboration on a statewide level and the empowerment of communities. This is our team. We are located in different parts of California. I am located in Los Angeles and am the regional coordinator for the counties in Southern California, including Orange County. Now, I would like to give you more information about the services that we provide. One of our focuses is promote collaboration and communication between the regional projects that are trying to involve the Latino community in this work that we have to do with tobacco. There are many agencies in California that are trying to do this. What we try to do is support, provide resources so that these agencies can involve the Latinos and what we are currently doing. Also, we developed a training for champions against tobacco to accelerate the process, the campaigns to change policies and systems. We also facilitate educational meetings and seminars that could affect Latinos. And also, we provide materials for the Latino people, especially materials that are in Spanish and for different regions. Something that I talked more about in the first training is that we developed and we share the platform for policies for our Latino community. That platform is to facilitate the adoption and implementation of tobacco control in our communities for Latinos. This is the map of California. I'm not going to talk much about it, but these are the regional projects that we're working on. Briefly, I would like to give you a review of what we talked about in the first training. The facts mention that there are more stores that sell tobacco in La Abra. I forgot to mention that I'm going to be mentioning a lot of facts about La Abra, but the rest of the presentation can apply to any other city. But because we're here talking with our colleagues in La Abra, I wanted to give this review of the facts. There are more stores that sell tobacco in La Abra in comparison to the amount of stores that are found on the county. There are 64% of schools in La Abra that are within a very small distance of a tobacco store. We also talked about the problems that this causes. The announcements or the propaganda for these products affects young ones, and it draws them to want to use these products. We learned and talked about how 10% of adults in La Abra smoke cigarettes in comparison to the 9% of adults throughout the county of Orange County. Between the years 2019 and 20, 5% of students in the 11th grade reported that they use electronic cigarettes. Some key points as a review of what we talked about. There was much more information. We are we're going to share the information about how we're going to share the link with you about the training that we did, so that if you couldn't join us in the first training, at least you can review it later. We also talked about the policies that can shape our community to protect or improve public health. Specifically, Veronica talked about the program, how it is trying to implement laws to prohibit smoking and the use of tobacco in apartments or live in environments with more than several families, and prohibit the use of tobacco in areas that are in the open air, like parks or other recreational areas. And also how to restrict cigarettes that have flavors. We have facts about that, or statistics that show that these policies can have an impact in reducing the use of tobacco between young ones or teenagers, and also protecting the community from being exposed to secondhand smoke. I want to take this time to talk to you about why the community has to be a part of the process as a citizen, and if you are not a citizen, as somebody who contributes to our city, a member of the city. One of the many privileges that we have as a member of society, a democratic society, is the capacity to, or the ability to express our point of view and our personal opinions and our political views. Many times, the terms or the medias are part of our lives, part of our daily lives. In many occasions, however, we would like to be heard in different areas or scenes or situations. For those who take decisions outside of our circle of communication, right? That's what we want to talk about today and practice. Communication with public leaders, it's not only welcoming, but the communication that we have nowadays with social media, communicating through different devices has made it easier to do this. And it's much quicker and more convenient. Nowadays, with the area of internet and social media, the directional community that we have with community leaders, their offices, it's an expectation isn't it? They want to hear about the people who live in the city, whether the people vote, live in the city, all of us vote or enable other, all of us enable this person to take that responsibility. Isn't it that way? And in exchange, they work for us. In that sense, we have to communicate what are the needs of the community so that they know, so that they are aware of the community's needs.
Entonces el poder está en sus manos, ¿verdad? Los políticos
It's all
representan
in
a
your
la
hands.
comunidad
The politicians represent the community and have a right to talk in favor of the politics that can help the community. All of the people have the right to their opinion, regardless of their immigration status. The important thing is that we stay informed, alert, and participate where we are able to,
confortables, ¿verdad?
and also where we feel comfortable. As I mentioned to you, it's all in your hands. It's in the community's hands. As we had talked about in the first training, each county and city has different ways to approve. There is no specific rule or procedure on how to recommend or approve something that we're suggesting. The process of preparing to talk with the community leaders, the changes that we would like to see. It is also important to understand what is the city's process where you work at. Remember, all citizens, all people in the community have a right to advocate. As a constituent of the city, you are an indispensable part of our democratic system. As a community participant, we can participate through the entire process. And I mention this to you because you have been here since the beginning. We are starting this campaign that they want to do in La Abra. I know the Orange County program and other programs that are involved will have more meetings, trainings, or workshops to do this. You can be a part of that process. It's important to know who are the leaders in the community. Before we know who they are, we have to understand that they are people that are normal. They have their values and beliefs.
Cuando nosotros estamos preparando en platicar con ellos,
When we prepare to talk to them, it's important to understand a little bit more about them so that we can shape our message in a way that's going to motivate them as a human being, as a human being would, or a normal person would. Before I continue, is there a question? I saw that somebody had raised their hand, but I don't know if you had a comment or question. Well, I noticed that you lowered the hand. Maybe it was a mistake. Yes, good evening. It was a mistake. No worries. Welcome. I apologize. Thank you. Well,
este es el concejal de aquí de la ciudad de La Habra.
this is the City Council of La Habra. And like I told you in preparation, it's important to understand who they are. There are different ways of how we can learn more about them and how they think. I know that in the next part of this training, Juan will talk more about this and give more information that is going to be practical on how we can prepare with this regard. because they are normal people. It can help us to understand that the process is the decision of a particular leader. And their role as the city leader, they have to take many decisions that will affect many people. That's why I wanted to review this information that I thought was very practical when I found it. It's the National Studies of Suggestion. They wrote an article of how leaders or legislators make decisions. They explained first that it all starts with the brain or the head. First, they want to create a good policy. Many had this role as a leader because they want to make a difference in their own community. During this way of thinking, how are they going to do it in their decisions, or what are they going to do? They ask themselves, what is the smart way to handle this in a given situation? From this perspective, they take a lot of information and consideration so that they can make their decision. And they also evaluate if this is something that their colleagues are going to approve of. If their colleagues are not talking about these topics, then maybe they're not going to support it. But if this is something that the community is talking about, the leaders have to act on it. The following is the heart, because the leaders are also human beings, normal people. They have a lot of passion behind what they do. Leaders often think that they are doing what's correct or what's right. And when they have to make difficult decisions, they use their own beliefs, their own values, and they also listen to their conscience. When we ask for the support of a particular leader, we have to think, how can we reach their heart? Many times we can do this in the process of communicating to them our personal stories. Stories that, for example, with this topic, have to do with tobacco and how it has affected our personal lives or their personal lives. Sharing these personal stories can move them or persuade them and reach their heart. Trust in your personal story to emphasize your point. Give the leader or the official an example that they can relate to or use in their own talk or speech when they want to talk about approving a policy. Real stories of real people are effective. We are going to have the opportunity to put this into practice in a moment with one. And last but not least, we're going to talk about public health. This is another thing we want to think about. Often leaders would like to continue in their role, or at least when it's their time, leave in their own terms. For them to be reelected constantly, leaders are conscious not only of climate, but also how votes affect their capacity to continue in their role. In their role. They need to consider the will or the thoughts of their colleagues and also the needs of the city. The question is, how can we educate our community leaders? Well, there are several ways. First, I would like to talk about why it is important that we educate our community leaders. We know that community leaders maybe have a very high education. So we must think they're very smart. And yes, they are very smart. They have a lot of knowledge. But that is because they have to take a lot of decisions for the city. Sometimes there are topics that they don't know well or don't understand too well. That is why it is important that we educate our community leaders about the problem, the problem that we're talking about, which is the use of tobacco and how this is affecting the community. Something that we also have to keep in mind, there are other people in the city that you can educate
en hacer un cambio en la ciudad.
who could
Por
help to
ejemplo,
make a change within the city. For example, it's not just the city leaders or community leaders that are giving maintenance to the city, but there's also administrators. It's like a manager of the city. And the community leaders have other members who work in their team. The community leaders support themselves a lot in them when they have to make decisions. Because remember, they have to make a lot of decisions. They have a lot of information that they have to review.
su equipo para que el equipo
They rely a lot on their team so that their team keeps them informed about how to vote. Sometimes, if we cannot talk to the city leader or community leader, maybe there's another person within the city who we could talk to and still have that impact. A way that we can update leaders is inviting them to meetings that we have with coalitions. Another way that we can talk to our leaders is being in events where they're going to be there. In these events, there will be opportunities where we can walk up to that person, have a conversation, or just chat. And sometimes that is a way, it's an informal way, but it can have a great impact. And it is a way that you can introduce a particular problem. You can say, I'd like to meet with you because, and then that person is going to say, I remember talking to this person. So they can schedule another meeting if you were to see that person or talk to that person in person. But if there aren't any events where they will be there, you can also call their office and schedule a meeting with the leaders. Juan is going to talk to you a little bit more about this as well. There are other ways that we can educate our community leaders. Nowadays, in this era that we're living in, we have an advantage, which is the use of digital communication. It can be petitions, electronic ballots or forms. We can also send a message or an email to our leader. We can also make a phone call and leave a message in the voice messages of our leaders in their office. We can let them know how we think by going to council meetings, or we could send letters. It doesn't just have to be through email or by a phone call. You can also send a letter to these community leaders. As we talked about before, you can try to schedule a meeting with the community leader. And as I mentioned to you, you can talk to different people who are designated in the city to make decisions. Another way is have what you want to share in the news. These ways can be effective. If we have exhausted the other forms of communication and weren't able to, then at that particular moment, we can use our problem through social media or these different forms of media. And also it's the direct method. where, as I mentioned, I'm a student at the university. I participated in all the manifestations and protests. Sometimes the community has to do that if the community leaders are not listening to us. Then we take that approach when we have exhausted all other approaches and they're not listening to us. That was my presentation.
El micrófono a Juan, quería
Before
recordar
I pass it to Juan, I want to remind you that the platform policy of our office or center is available. You can take a screenshot of this page and it will take you to where you can download the app. If you want to get in communication with me, this is my contact information, my email. Please have the confidence to contact me if you have a question.
Vamos a tener una oportunidad de hacer
At the
preguntas.
end, we will have the opportunity to ask questions.
Se lo voy a pasar a Juan y perdón porque veo que me pasé mucho de
I'm
tiempo.
going to pass it to Juan. I apologize for going over my assigned time. Esperamos
Sí,
que estemos bien.
gracias.
Gracias, Janet.
Ok. ¿Cómo estamos? ¿Bien, bien?
How are you? Good, good?
Otra vez se me fue. Ok, no sé por qué. ¿Sí miran mi pantalla?
Can you see my screen?
Se me fue las imágenes, no puedo
Sí.
mirarlos. ¿no?
I lost
Perdón.
the slides. I can't see them.
Muy
Sí,
bien,
estamos viendo
gracias.
tu pantalla, Juan.
Sí, sí vemos tu
Gracias.
pantalla.
We're seeing your screen, Juan. Yes, we can see your screen. Hello to everyone. I am Juan Villa. I am from the organization California Tobacco Endgame Center for Organizing and Engagement. It's a American Heart Association program or project. Thank you for welcoming me and having me this evening,
Algunos consejos
sharing with you some practical suggestions with you.
So, brevemente,
Briefly,
les voy a platicar un poco sobre-
I would like to share with you about who is Juan. That's me. I'm a dad. I have a small boy. His name is Isaiah. You can see him here.
Soy el menor de 5.
And I'm also Erica's husband. I am the smallest of 5 compared to 4 older sisters. You can, I already know what you're thinking. Man, how did he do it with 5 sisters? Well, yes, but this isn't what's odd. I am the tallest compared to my family, who is around 5 feet. If you see my screenshot or the slide on the far right side, that picture, the other male in that picture is my father.
No se crea.
I don't know if he's my biological father or just a labor. I'm just joking. He's my dad and my mom and my sisters.
Mis padres son de México, pero yo nací aquí.
My parents are from Mexico, but I was born here in the United States. So please accept my apology if I suck in Spanglish. And if I make a mistake with a particular word, please help me out
No siempre se me salen bien.
because the words don't always come out the way I want them to.
Estoy inspirado a hacer el trabajo que
Like
hacemos.
many of you, I'm inspired by what we're doing.
Desigualdades que ha causado la industria del tabaco.
These disparities that the tobacco industry has done, it draws young ones and attacks people of low income and people of color with announcements to draw them in. In simple words, I want to be a reason why the world is better and a solution to this puzzle.
Okay. Aquí hay una agenda de muestra de lo que
This is an agenda of what we are reviewing today. At any given moment during the presentation, if you have a question, an idea, please raise your hand or also use the chat option. We are here to learn and to learn ideas from one another.
Okay. So, aquí están algunos consejos
Here are some suggestions on how to talk to any audience. First, it is important to know who is your audience. You can find yourself in a situation where you need to talk to a specific leader or make a public presentation. Whoever your audience, it will help you communicate better your message.
Segunda, Recuerda tu
Second,
papel.
remember your role
Parte de la campaña
as a
es el
member who
compartir
represents the
datos
campaign.
o compartes
You're going to share
tu
facts
testimonio personal.
or you're going to share your testimony.
Ten
Third,
disciplina.
be
Manténgase
disciplined.
en el mensaje. No quieres
Keep yourself within the message. Do not confuse the audience.
Si tiene algún otro consejo,
If you have another suggestion that you would like to share,
para que, todos
please
miremos.
write it down in chat so that we can all see it.
Okay. Como dijo Janet, les quiero
Like Janet mentioned,
otra vez,
I want to remind you
líderes de
again
la ciudad también,
that the community leaders are also people.
ellos se despiertan como ustedes.
They wake up just like you do, brush your teeth just like you do, take their kids to school just like you do, sleep just like you do. What I'm trying to transmit to you is that a title should not make them inaccessible or unreachable. I'd like to ask the group,
Hablando con los líderes de
do
la
you
ciudad?
feel uncomfortable talking to a community leader? Or have you felt, if you had had the opportunity, would you like to write it down in chat? Or would you like to unmute yourself and say it about how you feel or how you have felt?
Miro una mano de Terci.
Terci, I see you have your hand raised.
Sí, hola, buenas tardes.
Hola.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yo creo que ahora el mayor que está en la ciudad, él
I
habla
think that the city mayor
afortunadamente, él te da
speaks
la
Spanish and fortunately will give you the opportunity to talk with him.
pero no todo el tiempo ha
But
sido alguien que sea bilingüe y
we
muchas
haven't
veces
always had a
llega
bilingual
a
mayor.
la ciudad o al
And Mina will not draw
municipio
close to the city, to the mayor, or to the council members because they are only English speakers. And there is nobody to help us with translation in Spanish or in a different language. It's not that we're scared. It's just that we don't have who can help us to translate or interpret so that we can have a dialogue
o con el mayor.
with the city council or with the mayor himself.
Gracias.
Thank you.
También miro a la mano de Norma.
Norma, I see your hand.
Pues yo soy una persona, ay, ¿cómo digo que se llama? Juan.
I am a person. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Your name is Juan. I am not shy about opinionating
Para nuestra comunidad, ¿verdad?
or figuring out who works for our community.
Conocer,
We have the responsibility to know who is the city council. Thanks to God, we have a program that is with LAC that taught us the steps necessary. And that is the way how we drew closer to our community, getting to know who is the city council, the board members. I have contacts with everyone since Jose Medrano was here, but it was harder because they are Americans. They did not want to listen to us that much. But thanks to God, now we have a bilingual person, or maybe even three. He's a trilingual, and he listens to us very well. So I don't think we're going to have any problems with Jose Medrona, Rosy Espinosa, Ms. Gomez.
Yo los conozco a todos.
I know them all.
Pues me da mucha alegría que
Very good. I'm glad to hear that.
pues los puede entender.
That they have a city council that will understand you.
Se va a
Yes,
reelegir.
also,
Esperemos en Dios
they're
que-
going to do elections, and we hope that he is reelected because since he was elected, he has done an excellent job. Thank you. Thank you. So we don't want to talk about politics, but if there's somebody who wants to vote, I encourage you to vote for him and support him so that we can see a better La Habra. Thank you. Thank you very much, Norma.
Pues muy bien y gracias por compartir. Se escucha
Thank you for
como
sharing.
que tenemos
It sounds like
personas que son valientes y
there are
como
courageous people out there.
Norma que
And as Norma had mentioned,
pena,
she's not shy about opinionating.
no es pena porque es tu comunidad.
Don't be shy. It's your community.
Y te afecta pues como uno vive, uno como
And
papá.
perfect as we live, whether it's with parents, as a resident.
Muchas gracias por compartir.
Thank you
Ok,
for sharing.
iba a hacer esta actividad, pero
I want to do this activity, but due to time,
Lo bueno es que Janet sí tocó este tema.
the good thing is that Janet talked about this.
Que tú estarías podrías,
different motives on why you would talk to a community leader,
o en un evento.
public comments at an event.
Ya nos dijo Janet sobre eso.
Janet already talked about this.
So, hay que hablar de comentarios públicos. So, una situación en que
Talking about public comments, let's put a situation where you would find yourself in that is making public comments in a public meeting from the city. Let's review briefly how that could take place so that you can talk to the city council. Start by talking to the mayor and city council. Tell them your name and your organization or who you represent or the district that you are part of, your point of view about their policy and why that policy is important for you. This is a good opportunity to share your personal testimony or experience. Then they ask you to support your policy. Generally, you will only be given 3 minutes to express yourself. It is important to practice and take notice of your time.
Okay. So, lo que debemos y no deber hacer.
What to do and not to do.
Lo que sí hacemos.
First,
Demuestre su
what to do.
conocimiento, pasión,
Demonstrate your knowledge, passion, and credibility about a specific topic.
practique sus comentarios preparados. en
Practice your
voz
comments that are well prepared out loud and take your time. Have a list of point 1, 2, and 3 within those 3 minutes. What not to do. Do not exceed your assigned time. If your assigned time is over, stop and just say thank you.
Y luego, no subestime el valor de una
Don't
experiencia.
underestimate the value of a personal experience. Personal experiences will make them memorable and can influence in the moment when decisions have to be made.
So, las historias inspiran a las personas. Sabemos eso.
Personal stories inspire people. We know that.
Asimila un problema a través de los ojos de
They allow
otra.
people to
Pueden enseñar
understand a problem from another person's point of view.
a actuar.
It can encourage them about a problem and act.
Tenemos historias
Many of us have our personal story
del consumo del tabaco,
about the use of tobacco that has affected or motivated
esfuerzos para evitar que el tabaco
to be a part of the effort to avoid tobacco and how it affects our community. Maybe a family member, a close family friend passed away, or you're motivated to create a better future for your children, or simply to improve public health,
motivado para ayudar a reducir
or you want to help reduce
causadas por el consumo del
the disparity of tobacco use and the industry that promotes it.
So, aquí hay 3 puntos. Conecte la
There are
historia
3 points to consider.
más sólidos de su campaña. ¿Cómo va a
Connect your story with the more solid arguments or topics. Connect the story with facts for general and great impact. Consider special stories with those who will make the decisions. Janet mentioned where we can share our stories,
redes sociales, comentarios públicos,
different publications, social media, public comments, or ask for a meeting with city council, an interview, or talk to a particular member of the community, write down a personal letter to the editor, or if they have a newsletter of some sort, then you can write to them. This question, if you can please raise your hand or give me a thumbs up. Have you made a public comment before? Yes, no?
Sí.
También lo puedo poner en el chat. ¿Sí?
Yes, yes.
Muy
Yes.
bien, muy bien.
Very well, very good. Yes,
Qué bueno.
that's
Me
good.
gusta escuchar eso.
Me too.
Ok. So, ahora les voy a enseñar a 2
I
personas
am going to show you 2 different people as examples
para inspirar o
Sí.
para los que no los hagan, para los que no han ha sido un
to
comentario
inspire
público, para ver
those who
un ejemplo
haven't given a public comment.
como estas 2
I'm sharing with you 2 examples about how these ladies shared their testimony
de nuestros en Santa Ana. So,
in Santa Ana.
Voy a hacer stop share y lo voy a hacer y luego voy a entrar otra vez. Dame un
I am
momento.
going to stop share and then reshare.
Ok. ¿Sí miran el video?
Can you see the video?
Sí.
Muy bien, gracias.
Catalina Iniestra, followed by Jasmine Torres.
Catalina Iliestra, seguida por la señora Torres.
Buenas noches, señor
Good evening,
alcalde Sarmiento y
Mr. Mayor
del Concilio.
and City Council members. My name is Rocio Guzman. I have lived in Santa Ana for about 20 years and am a volunteer of American Ultra. I am here along with my colleagues, parents, teenagers who are fighting for our teenagers. They are vulnerable in all of the tobacco uses, especially tobacco with flavor.
Y más si usan la
It doesn't make it less harmful, especially like Coke. We ask that you please do what's right and vote for the option 1A. Thank you beforehand for your support, and remember, our teenagers are our future. I am a mother who is representing several mothers who would have liked to be here but are unable to. But we are representing those parents who are worried for the situation. Thank you very much.
Y luego hay una más. ¿Qué quiero enseñar?
There's one more.
Buenas noches, alcalde Sarmiento y concejales.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. My name is Catalina Iniestra. I have lived in Santa Ana for more than 30 years. I lived in District 3. I am a volunteer of American Anthem for more than 5 years, and I'd like to put an end to tobacco flavors in Santa Ana. It's a very important topic for me and hurtful. Why? I have 2 adolescents, and one has been a part of this already. I say it in this way because I cannot overcome it. Seeing my daughter as a zombie when she was a very cheerful little girl, very good at sports, always participated since they were in preschool until high school. But because of pressures, because the parents are not going to find out, I was figuring out that was my daughter. She was a zombie. She came out of the bathroom as a zombie to confront her and ask her what's going on. When I saw those difficult changes in her, the hardest part or the saddest part for me as a mother is see what police do. Unfortunately, I found my daughter. She had 3 paper cigarettes hidden in her intimate parts. That hurt me so much because I said, as a mother, that will not happen to me, because I have had her in drug programs to prevent alcohol, but I couldn't. I was unable to. Why? Because the tobacco industries are putting it in front of them at school, where they do not give them the opportunity to be themselves, but they involve them, obligating them. And this hurt me because I am not the only one going through this. There are many other parents in this situation, and that is why I asked for you to vote for 1A. And hope that you are conscious of this, please. Thank you, thank you.
Ok. ¿Qué pensaron de eso? ¿Hay algo que les
What did you think
llama la
about this?
atención? ¿O
Did
algo
something draw your attention?
quieren compartir?
Something you would like to share?
Miro a la mano de María.
I see Maria Lopez, you have your hand raised, and then Terci. Good afternoon.
Videos a mí me impactó los
Seeing the
dos.
videos, it impacted me, both of them, but more the
Carne propia, eso se queda,
person that's living
Ujú.
es doloroso y
that's
no
living the situation. It's painful and it makes us remember to vote. Thank you. Terci?
Pues vaya, son testimonios muy, muy duros, en especial el
They are
segundo.
very difficult testimonies, especially the second one.
Se refería con los
What I
cigarros
didn't know was what she referred to with
o tupper, no sé qué
vaping-
sean, eso sí.
vaping cigarettes. What is that?
No entiendo a qué
I
se
didn't
refiere.
understand what she was referring to.
No, yo no estoy seguro, pero si
I am
alguien,
not sure,
compañero o colega, nos puede ayudar, lo puedo poner en el chat.
but maybe a colleague can help us and put it in chat.
Vapear, cigarrillos de vapear, son
I think
los
they're
que-
referring to vaping cigarettes, the electronic cigarettes,
muy comunes, como
a very
Juul,
common brand, is Juul
y otros cigarrillos electrónicos.
and other electronic cigarettes of
Oh, a
such.
eso se refería, sí.
Oh, they were referring to those. Okay, I didn't understand and I thought,
Pero sí, un
what is that?
testimonio duro.
But it was a very hard testimony, very powerful.
Perdón, yo escuché,
I also heard
como el Tupperware. Yo no dije, pues no
stupid
sé.
and I thought Tupperware and I said, no, I don't know. Maybe it's something different.
Entendí.
Yes, because I didn't understand, but thank you. No, thank you.
Creo que Norma sigue.
Norma, you're next.
Pues los dos testimonios estuvieron impactantes, ¿verdad?
Both testimonies had an impact. I never thought that Catalina
Por algo es una compañera
was going through something like that. She is somebody that I meet with at different meetings.
Pues pobre, ¿verdad? Porque en
It's
realidad
sad
hay
because
que poner
in
atención
reality, we have to pay attention as soon as possible with our
porque nos
kids
engañan a través de esos
because they
electrónicos
can
que están
lie
hechos
to
de
us
diferentes
or trick us with these electronic cigarettes. They are made or fabricated in different ways.
Yo también tuve un caso de
I also had a situation with a nephew and an uncle. It wasn't because of electronic cigarettes, but more because of drugs. But it's the same. If you sell one, you sell the other.
Yo también ya tuvimos cuando
I
andábamos con esta Ivonne,
remember when I was with Yvonne,
tuve que dar mi expresión en la Jabra
I
también.
had to share my experience in La Abra with those who attended us.
Porque sí, ya perdieron la vida. Parte de mi
They've lost their
familia
lives.
tiene uno,
Some of my family members have lost their lives.
¿verdad? Y
And it's
aparte
sad.
Catalina, pues, tiene a su hija, pero
And
es igual
Catalina has her daughter, but
estuviera muerta porque como
it's
ella
almost like if she is
y es muy
a dead
triste.
person walking.
Y es lo que yo
It's
les
very
decía
sad.
en reuniones
And
con
that is
ellos,
why I had said in past meetings, like I had told Beto and the others, maybe the government thinks in making a lot of money opening these kinds of stores because they pay a lot of taxes, but they don't see the suffering of the family, their losses, and also how expensive this is. So it's a roundabout. It's a roundabout because these stores receive funds, but at the end, many people become ill because of these electronic,
Sí.
because it's also something that is going on more.
Ajá, gracias Norma y gracias a los demás.
Thank you,
que
Norma.
compartieron.
Thank you
Yo
for all
quiero-
the others who shared.
yo puse los dos
I want to say I posted both videos because one of the testimonies was more personal. It caught your attention.
Yo no soy llorón, pero cuando
I'm
yo
not
lo
a crybaby,
sentí,
but when I saw that, how that person felt, I was about to cry. And I'll tell you why.
tengo un niño de 2 años y cuando
I have a
ella
2-year-old son,
ella estaba-
and when she said, look,
estaba,
my little girl was
en los deportes y
involved
todo eso,
in sports and all other
ya
things,
cuando creció en el high school, como
but
dice,
as she was growing up in high school, everything changed.
espero que eso no es el futuro de mi niño, pues porque
I thought about my son and about his future.
la industria del tabaco, pues,
We know that the tobacco industry
y trata de traer a los jóvenes.
draws
Ah,
teenagers in.
y la señora, la otra señora, la que enseñé
The other
primero,
lady that I showed
miraba
first,
como que ella estaba,
she looked
como los dos
better prepared.
vieron
Both of them
para su objetivo, para que su
fulfilled their
mensaje,
objective.
como los dos tenían el
That
mismo mensaje, pero un diferente, ¿cómo se dice?
both of
Approach.
them had the same message, but with a different approach.
Ahora lo que vamos a hacer es
What we
que
are going to do
vamos
now
a
is
practicar. Am,
do a training session or a workshop per se.
Tendremos 4 cuartos de breakout rooms.
We are
en-
going to create 4 breakout rooms, 2 in English and 2 in Spanish.
Vamos a tener los primeros cuartos que vamos a abrir.
The
van a
first
ser
breakout
en
rooms
inglés y luego los
will be in
demás
English.
en español.
The others will be in
Aquí
Spanish.
tenemos, las instrucciones. Déjame
The
leerlo.
instructions are here. Let me read them briefly.
Facilitadores del grupo. So,
The group organizers also have them. The constituent switcher itself will have 5 minutes to organize and assign roles and the order in which the speakers will talk. Some examples are an expert in the materials, a worried neighbor, a local professional, etc. Use your imagination. The constituents also need to educate the community leaders about the campaign
que
that
la
has to
coalición.
do with the policies on tobacco that the coalition is trying to approve.
Okay. So. Okay, Alicia dice to select room 1 or 2 if you are English.
Alicia dice seleccionar el primero, segundo, cuarto virtual si hablas
El cuarto número 1.
inglés. Si hablas inglés. If you're in English, please select breakout room 1 or 2.
¿Quién los va a abrir?
We are ready for breakout rooms. I'm not sure who's going to open them.
Pero ahorita
Abiertos.
¿ya están
pero
abiertos?
ya
They're
son-
open.
Para los que hablan en inglés, por favor, escojan.
For those who speak English, please go to room 1.
El cuarto 1 y cuarto 2.
Please go to room 1 and 2.
Okay, so, si los que no miran, ahí abajo,
For those who cannot see,
donde
if you
miran
try to look at your screen
y las-
where you can see the icons for chat and all the others, you're going to see a breakout room
los que
icon.
hablan español van a ir al 4, 3 y 4.
Those who speak Spanish will go to breakout room 3 and 4. Is that correct?
El 4, 3,
If you
4.
speak Spanish, go to breakout room 3 and 4.
Miramos ahí.
I'll see you soon.
Juan, ¿en cuál cuarto quieres que yo esté?
Which room do you want me to go to?
¿Quieres ir al cuarto número 3?
Ok.
Do you want to go to breakout room number 3? Okay, that's fine.
Una pregunta, no encuentro nada más en mi teléfono sale en Join Breakout Room.
I have a
Ajá.
question. My phone says join breakout room. Click on that and it will give you the option. Okay, I have to click yes and choose the breakout room. Thank you.
¿Alguien necesita ayuda?
Sí, a
Does
mí no me
anybody else need assistance? Yes, I don't see that.
Sí, mira donde dice breakout room.
Do
¿o
you
no?
see where it shows the icon breakout room?
no.
No.
Deben de estar.
Disculpe, una pregunta.
Please
¿Cuál
excuse me, but I have a question.
me dijo que era en español?
Which breakout room is in Spanish? 3 or 4? 3 or 4?
Socorro, donde sale la ventanita de 4.
Socorro, is that the one that has 4 little squares?
Hace clic y ahí le manda los
Click there and it will send you to the breakout rooms.
Porque aquí me sale solicitar transcripción en directo, ¿es ahí?
Because I see right here translation and live translation. Is that the one?
Selección de idiomas. Está
Because it
solicitando
talks about language translation.
transcripción directo, configuración.
It says choose live translation, but I don't see anything else.
No la pueden transferir.
A menos que me vaya a chat, me voy a chat.
Do I go to the chat icon?
Si no puede.
Oh,
este,
ok, yo creo que era aquí, sí, 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 sí.
Ok, muy bien.
I couldn't, but I think I see it now. Okay.
Si no lo encuentra o si tiene
If you
dificultad,
can't see it,
ahí eche la lucha y si
creo
no,
que
pues
no,
ahorita nos
no,
make the
regresamos.
effort. And if not, we'll return soon.
¿Ustedes no nos pueden meter al cuarto?
Creo
Can't
que
you send
sí.
us to the breakout room?
Um,
I think so,
¿Quién es el host?
Alicia.
but I need to see who is the host.
Alicia, can you put-
Alicia is. Alicia, can you send people to the breakout rooms?
A ver, ¿quién es el host? ahorita?
Alicia is not here. Who is the host right now?
Verónica, creo que tú lo puedes hacer. ¿Usted lo puede
Veronica,
hacer?
can you do it? Can you please do it?
No.
I
No,
honestly don't know how to do it.
A ver.
I don't see how to do it.
Ok, yo necesito entrar al otro cuarto.
I need to go to the other breakout room.
Ay, Jonathan.
Hola, nomás estaba esperando en el número 4 había.
I
un
was
grupo.
waiting for the breakout room in number 4, and I don't know who was assigned to that breakout room.
Nabila,
I am.
Hi, Nabila. Do you know how to transfer people?
Hola, Nabila, ¿sabes cómo enviar a las personas?
Okay. I think everybody is now in a room.
Creo que ya todos están en un cuarto virtual. Sí.
Yes, I think everybody's in a room now.
Sí, creo que todos están en un cuarto virtual.
Hey, folks, I think in the interest of time, we have to close the breakout rooms. Ok. Ya estamos regresando. Alicia, if you can close the breakout rooms, I think we're running close.
Yeah, I just closed them, so they should be coming back to the main room right now.
Okay, beautiful. Ok. No tenemos mucho tiempo para...
No nos queda mucho tiempo para reflexionar,
si tienen una
pero
pregunta,
si tienen una pregunta,
alguna reflexión,
oh, if you have a question or an idea
compañero,
that you listened from a colleague, please put it in chat. We would like to,
Miro, if you are English speaking and you want the translation, you have to select your preferred language.
si hablas inglés y quieres la traducción, por favor busca tu icono para escoger la traducción.
Okay.
Queremos darles de nuevo la bienvenida.
Ya mero se nos acaba el tiempo aquí, solo
We are almost out of time.
si
What I mentioned to everyone is, if you have a reflection, a thought, please use
lo que,
chat
pensó, cómo se sintió haciendo una
to
práctica,
share what you
si
thought during
primera
this
vez o su
session.
tercera vez o quinta
Was this your
vez,
first, third, fifth, or
pero
100th
voy
time?
a pasar otra vez, los slides
Again,
a
I'm going to share the slides
Verónica creo que
to
para
Veronica.
terminar con unos
They
anuncios
will finish with
y
some
creo que
announcements
la raffle. So déjame
and the
cerrar
raffle.
mi pantalla.
Let me
Muchas
close my
gracias a
screen.
todos por
Thank you to everyone
dejarme compartir.
for
Gracias a todos, excelente. Sé
thank
que
you to
varios
everyone. It was excellent. I know that this will continue.
por hacer,
There's a lot of work to do.
se,
Many
se
comments
quedaron sin hacer.
that were unanswered, but thank you for opening the platform, the conversation, and everyone's willing to share and work on this. Thank you very much for the participation of everyone. At the moment, the good thing is that Janet and Juan are willing to answer some questions. They saw your emails, etc. Us as well, we can continue with this work. In our case, in La Abra, a group from Bake Street, it's a very active group, and each one in their own group or where they come from. At this time, the time is up. We have a raffle, however you would like to call it in English. Es una... Alicia is going to help us by naming those in the wheel. ¿Están todos ahí?
Vamos a dar, yo creo que 3 tarjetas de regalo, ¿verdad?
We are going to give 3 gift cards, right, Veronica?
No sé cuántas tarjetas, la verdad.
I don't know how many gift cards we have. There are 3. Who has them? Socorro, congratulations. You are our first winner. Is Socorro still here? Yes, I'm still here.
Si no tenemos su correo electrónico, si por
If we don't
favor,
have your email, can you please
nosotros podamos
put it in chat
después,
so that afterwards
cómo mandarle la
we can figure out how to send you the gift card?
Ya-
Thank
ya-
you.
¿Ya hiciste la wheel otra vez,
La-
Alicia? Esta es la segunda.
La
¿Ya
segunda.
giraste la rueda de la rifa? The second one?
Va la segunda vez.
This is the second time that we're spinning the wheel.
Grisel Rosales.
Grisel Rosales.
Y la que sigue.
And the next one? This is the third spin. Veronica and Grisel are no longer here. Oh, she needed to stay. Let's do the second one again.